Hello everyone, this is Mohammed from Python Ninja YouTube channel, and today we will discover together a new Python collection data structure which is tuple, and we will see where is the difference between what we learned before, which is list, and what we will learn in this tutorial, which is tuple. Tuple is one of the Python data structure and is affiliated to collection data type. A collection, as we introduced before, is a single variable that is used to store multiple variables or other variables. Okay. Also, a tuple can be 1D, or it's like a normal tuple, or it can be tuple of tuple, which is 2D collection or 2D tuple. We will have a separate tutorial for 2D collection data structure, where we will see a list of list or a list of tuple or a tuple of list. And this is initiated, the tuple is initiated using the round parentheses, which is like this. Okay. Now we will see there are two common methods to initiate a tuple. Okay. Now the characteristic of a tuple is listed as below. Okay. First, it can be initiated by using round brackets or parentheses. Okay. Unlike the list that is initiated using square brackets. Okay. The second one, it can hold much different data types, meaning that it can hold or store a string, integer, or in general, it can be classified also as a heterogeneous data structure, because we can have the string and integer as well as same as list data structure. Elements inside a tuple are ordered elements and can be accessed using index. Okay, so let us remember what we introduced when we describe the sequence. We have to remember that it is an iterable. Okay, and it's ordered. So a tuple is also sequence because it is iterable and it is ordered. Okay. Also, it allows duplicating element, meaning that I can have two similar items with the same values. Okay, it's just also important to remember that a list and a tuple contain ordered element by index. So we have to remember that, because in the next in one of the next tutorials we will introduce set, which contain unordered items. As a list, it also allows duplicating element. Also, tuples are immutable, okay, and iterable. Iterable that I can loop through this tuple, and immutable, it's typical to string when we say that we are not able to change any value using the normal assignment. Please go back to string data structure tutorials and see or check what I mean of immutable data type. And tuples are faster than list. Okay. Now let us start by initiating a tuple. How can we initiate a tuple? So I want to use the same example of fruits we did in introducing list in Python. So the first procedure, or the first way to initiate a list, is to use only parentheses. Okay, so if I print this type of the variable fruits, it will show to me it is a list. Okay, and now it is a list. Or I can use, for example, another variable. This is like different way to introduce a list, is not to use parentheses but list items, like let us to say I have apple, then I add this comma. Without this comma it will be a string, but adding comma at the end it will be a tuple. Okay, so now we introduce two ways to initiate a tuple. Okay, so let us use the most used way or method, and let us to insert some fruits. Okay, to apply some operations. Banana. Okay, I have an apple also here, and I want to add also watermelon. Okay, but I forgot this quotation. This is not big issue. And let us all also add pineapple. Okay, and I think that's useful. Oh, but just to see to let you see that we can also add like duplicated element. We add banana also. So list is an iterable and it is ordered because I can access it by index, and it also contains like a duplicated element, as we can see in the fruit. The first thing what we will discover is to see what the functions that are the functions that can I apply to this variable fruits, which is a tuple. I use this dir to check or to print what are the special variable and methods. These are called the special variable and method, the one that start with leading and trailing underscores. We will describe this more when we go for object-oriented programming series. And what we are interested is to check the methods in the tail of this list of methods and variable, and we have like limited methods. It's not like a list. It comes with multiple and many of methods like append, like start with, blah blah. And we can see only methods that can I apply is count and index. And for example, I cannot append any item inside this tuple because tuple is again immutable. Okay, so if you have an application and the application you want to append any item, go for the list. Okay, this is the first way to check the methods or variable and special variables that are located with the tuple with any tuple variable, and you can just print help to see or to check how can each method also apply. Okay, so if you want to check how each method can be applied, you can use help, and this help will guide you to use each variable that come. Okay, now let us also to check if we can print, for example, one method, the description of one method. Yes, we can. If I just add a dot and then add what the method I want to put. For example, I want to see if I can print the index method here. Okay, and we will see here that that index it requires variable, it requires a value, and it requires like index and start value. It's initiated with 0. Okay, and it gives you some docstring and some description about the method. Okay, now let us to go away and to be to check more the methods, and for more information you can follow just help or dir functions or classes. Now let us do like some Boolean operation or logical check. I want to print if cherry, okay, n, and when I use n, it's mean like using the Boolean or logical operator, and I want to check if it's in a fruit or not. This will be either true or false, and it is in. But if I want to use, for example, what I want to check coconut, okay, and not coconut. This is the spelling. I think require another O here. Okay, and this coconut is not exist in the tuple, and it will be false. Okay, this is one of the basic operations that we can do. I can count all elements in a tuple. Okay, if I use len method, it's as same as what we described for list. We can use len fruits, then it will count all elements within a tuple. I can also check the index. What is the index, for example, of the apple item here inside this tuple? I can use this syntax fruit.index. Then I submit the value. If you return back 1 or 2 minutes before we printed the help of the index, and we notice together that we have to submit value, and this value should be apple. Okay, to check its index, and yeah, its index is 2 again and again. The indexing in Python starts from 0. So apple is 2 because there is 0, 1, 2, and yes, that's the index of the apple. And we can also count a specific element. For example, I want to count this apple, and let us print this, and it is 1. If I want to count, for example, banana, okay, and it will be 2. This is the second method, and the only method that comes with the tuple. Also, we can iterate. Okay, remember, iterable and order. So we can iterate. Okay, because it's iterable. For example, I can say for fruit. Okay, in fruits, for each item in this tuple, I want to bring, okay, this fruit, and I want to use and go to print statement to turn and to know more about this keyword end, and I can print all items because if I remove this end, it will print vertically, and I just wanted to print them in the same line. And a tuple can also contain heterogeneous items. What's the meaning of the heterogeneous? We introduced the meaning of the heterogeneous collection and list data structure series. Please go and watch these tutorials. But in general, heterogeneous means that if I have like this is Muhammad Abu Kamil tuple, this contains some information about my name. Okay, this is my first name. Okay, this is the city where I am in. For example, I'm in Leiden now. This is the age. Okay, and this is married. Okay, so the heterogeneous tuple is a tuple that comprises many different data type within the same tuple. So I have a string. Okay, I have integer and I have Boolean data type. So because it's mixed data type, we call it heterogeneous. Okay, and I can print MA, for example, variable, and it is printed, and it can be also accessed. Okay, for example, if I want to print the first name, I already know the index of the name, I can do that. What is important in the tuple, if you have multiple variables, you can avoid using these parentheses, and it will still the same. Okay, it is a tuple. Okay, but that is not applicable with a list. A list, it is mandatory to open square brackets or brackets. Okay, now this is a tuple, and this can be useful with or without using the parentheses. And remember, you cannot use like this. Okay, for example, I want to add only Muhammad. Okay, it is a valid tuple if I use comma. Okay, so let us print the type of this MA. Okay, what is the type? It should be tuple. Okay, if I remove this comma, then that it will be string. Okay, same here when I use the parentheses. If I close these parentheses, okay, it is still a string. And it's important that you have to end each the first item with a comma, okay, to have it as a tuple. This is most important piece of information you have to remember when you start learning coding. Okay. Again, I can do indexing, for example, for this tuple. Let us to move here and let us to say, for example, Leiden. Let us also use my age, and let us use my status if I'm married or not, and I'm married. Okay, I want to print the city, and I already know the index of the city is the index number 1. This is like useful implementation or direct implementation of tuple indexing. So I can access any item based on the index. For example, I can print -1, which usually gives the last item of any iterable, and this is true, okay, because it's true, okay. I can also use this syntax as same as what we used in the list to invert a tuple. Okay, so we can invert that tuple, but remember, tuple as a string, it is immutable. We cannot do assignment to this tuple. I cannot extend this tuple. Okay, so let us, for example, add. I want to add at MA variable, which is the tuple. I want to add at the index 0. Okay. I want to add, for example, ID. Okay. It is not applicable because tuple not support item assignment. In the other word, it is immutable. Okay. It is immutable, meaning that we cannot add anything inside a tuple. Okay. Now, what if I want to add? If I want to add anything, I have to convert this tuple into a list. Okay. For example, a list is nothing but a list of MA, which is the variable that holds my name. Okay. So let us print MA list. Okay. And it is a list now. Okay. And I can, for example, append at the end of this list. Okay, for example, MA list dot append. Okay, I want to append at the end the ID. Okay, and I want to print this list. Now I have ID at the end. If I want to add at the index 0, then the first name will be deleted. Then I can return this MA list. For example, MA again is nothing but a tuple. So I use now this tuple class, okay, to convert back to tuple. If I'm interested later to have MA after the modification to be tuple, then I want to print MA again, and it is a tuple. Okay, now we learned how can we manipulate a tuple by converting it to a list. I modify this list. I can append to this list. By this way I make a tuple as a mutable by converting to a list, and I return the list back to tuple. Okay, this is the way we can convert, and the way we can also manipulate the tuple. Okay, now for the tuple also we can use the slicing. Okay, let us to see tuple slicing to close this video. Okay, so for example, I have nums, okay, which is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. This is a tuple, okay, even without using parentheses again. I can print, okay, the first 3 elements of the tuple if I want to use a slicing. Okay, so we will have 0, 1, 2, okay, index. Okay, this is 0 index, this is 1 index, this is 2 index. The the third index. Okay, it's the first index, but it's 0. Okay, and usually this one is not included in when using slicing and indexing. We avoid or Python, okay, is built to use the last ending here in -1 to retrieve the data. We can, as I said, that we can reverse this by using -1, but we map over this one. We can print all items using this column. We can use the fifth element. We can by submit 4, which is the fifth here, and we can do much more operation. This is for tuple and tuple indexing. We want also to shed the light about what is called printing, but I want to print here. We also introduce that for the list, so we can print every 2 elements or column every 2 steps. Like I print the first one, then don't take this, but take the other one. Okay. What I want also to introduce to close this tuple is to introduce what is called unpacking. Okay, so we have here unpacking. Okay, not to unnormal. Okay, we have an unpacking of the tuples. Okay, what do I mean? Well, look at this syntax of tuple. I have name here. Okay, then I have city. This is like another way to initiate a tuple. Okay, to initiate like a tuple with multiple variable or with multi-tuples. Okay, this is tuples of tuples because the first value will be associated now to the first value. I can also add age. I can also add, for example, is married. Okay, these are 4 variables. Okay, and I want to add in the first value, I want to add Muhammad. Okay, okay, then I have to add comma, then the first variable, okay, name will be associated with Muhammad. Okay, when I use this city will be Leiden. Okay, the last element here will be my age, and the material status will be true. This is by this way we can introduce multiple variables. Okay, and we assign these variables, okay, to a value or to items in a tuple. Okay, now I can print, okay, name variable. Okay, and the name variable, okay, will be associated with Muhammad. Okay, okay, I can print also age. Okay, and the age will be printed as 35, and I can also print the remainder variables using the same way. So this is a useful way to initiate, okay, variables and from tuples, okay, from a tuple. And please keep in mind this syntax, that if you have like multiple variables and we have corresponding values, okay, you can like shrink them into one line, okay, which is called multiple variable assignments. Okay, this is like tuple, and these are the corresponding variables. We can print the value, and I can do what is called unpacking for the tuples assignment. For example, this can be copied here. Okay, and let us comment this one, and I want to use this. Okay, MA. Okay, and this, okay, which is the last the first tuple I introduced. I want to print this MA. Okay, and if I add start and the beginning of this, okay, it will be unpacked. Okay, again, if I remove this star, it will print it as a tuple. Okay, but I want to unpack this tuple into values, okay, or into corresponding values. What I shall do, I will add a star here, and by this star I unpack this tuple into normal values, okay, which is similar to add 4 variables here. Okay, now let us like repeat this using different way, or another example. For example, if I have these numbers, okay, and I have this 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, like this, okay, I want to see like this. Okay, I have the first number, okay, then I have the second variable, and I have the second variable and 2 and 3, the third variable here. Okay, look at this. This variable will store 10. This variable will store 2, and this variable will store 3. Okay, this is by formula. But if I add star here, then I assign, okay, the first value of the tuple to the first variable, and the last variable here will be assigned to the last value, okay, and where the start is, all reminder values or items in the tuple will be assigned here. Okay, so I can just see it's like now. Okay, I can print, for example, these items. I can print and 1, I can print and 2, I can print and 3 in the same way. What I applied here is applicable to the former example, which is this one. Okay, let us print the first value of the tuple associated to n1, then the last variable is associated with the last value, which is 60, and this n2, because I used this star, I unpacked all items here to a list and give it to the name. So unpacking the tuple is similar to take like different values or items, like the third, fourth, fifth elements in a list, and unpacking in a tuple, and unpacking them to a list and associating them to a variable. Okay, so again, I have a tuple here, and I want to have the first value to be associated with a variable, the last value to be associated with a variable, and I want to unpack the values, the reminder values, okay, to another variables. By unpacking them, I convert them to a list. Okay, this is what I mean. I mean by unpacking values. The same here. We have 4 variables here. I can add here ma, okay, or whatever I want to hold these values. Then, for example, I can add name, okay, then comma, then, for example, reminder, then last one is marriage. So what we will assign is the first value will be the first variable, the last value, the last variable with the last value, and in between we use this star to unpack them. Last thing to close this tutorial is to mention that a tuple is faster than a list. Let us test that. Okay, and we have sys in Python, and it's like internal module, okay, that we will use it now to see how long the length of bytes of this variable. So I want to add, for example, amlist here. Amlist, it is a list for my name, okay, and this is for this is for city, and this is for the age, and this is for the Boolean is marriage or not, is married or not, and I have tuple here, okay, which will be this one, but I don't use this, okay, just to convert it to a tuple. If I want to, for example, inside the list, inside this list, I want to print sys dot get size of, it will give me the size in byte for this list, okay. Okay, and the same I want to use for the tuple, and we will see now we have the size of 88 for the list, and we have the size of 72. So get size of is embedded with Python module, and it measures the size of the list or any variable, and it comes with the sys module. Again, sys module is a built-in Python module and help us to access some variables, built-in variables in Python that maintained by the interpreter, and it offers also some functions that we can access. Now we want also to measure the time that is used to, for example, create or initiate multiple tuples or multiple lists. We can compare them using the built-in timeit. Okay, so want to import timeit, and from this timeit, okay, we have timeit. Okay, this is the syntax, the timeit, and we have the statement which is introduced with this keyword stmt. This is statement that we want to repeat, or we want to execute. We want to build or generate this list, for example, and I want to recreate this list for a number of, for example, 10 or 100,000. Okay, I want to use the same, okay, here, okay, but I do not need to use list. I want to use tuple. Just I want to compare the time that is required to create this tuple and the time is required to create this list. When I create them, okay, 100,000 time. I want to print also the final time here using the print statement, and I want to here print this one, and let us execute the code. As we can see, the time is not that much different, but if we create, for example, for longer one, or for multiple of millions of lists or tuples, then the time for tuple will be much more efficient. This is not like usual implementation, but we want to mention that a tuple is faster than a list, and a tuple requires less memory when we use get size of. And we if we have like greater than this list or tuple, we will notice that clearly. That's all what we want to introduce for tuple. In the next tutorial we will introduce set in Python, and after that we will introduce two-dimensional list or two-dimensional collection that comprises list of tuples, or the mix between both. Please subscribe to this channel and share this video among your friends who want to learn Python in a comprehensive way.